International Papers time here on France 24. Florence is with us as ever, and the unrest in Syria continuing to get full coverage, really, in the international papers.
That's right. One angle that's getting a lot of attention today is just how the Islamists are taking advantage of the unrest in Syria, and it's on the front page of the International Herald Tribune, which says that the rallying cry in Syria is increasingly religious. Now, there are homegrown Muslim jihadists as well as small groups of fighters, Al-Qaeda fighters coming from abroad, and they're, according to the International Herald Tribune, taking a more prominent role and demanding a say in running the resistance. But it's important to remember that these groups are still a minority. The majority of rebels are, in fact, just conservative Sunni Muslims who are fighting against the Alawite minority, which is ruling the country. But according to this article in the International Herald Tribune, a lot of fighters are starting to invoke jihad to attract money and weapons from abroad. Now, this angle is also getting attention in The Guardian. Their reporter, Gait Abdul Ahad, met a commander of a jihadist militant group that has joined the battle against Assad in the east of the country. He says that this group calls themselves the Strangers. They're there to help their Syrian brothers, but these fighters come from the Caucasus, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and the Gulf Arab states. And according to this article, these Al-Qaeda fighters, they are bringing experience to the Syrian war, and also religion is a way to impose discipline because the fighters won't disobey a religious order in battle, according to this article.
You've also pulled out a fascinating story that was mentioned briefly yesterday. A lot of the papers focusing on this massive blackout in India, the worst in a decade.
The worst in a decade, and it's on the cover of the Wall Street Journal Europe. Here you see a photo of that blackout that immobilized North India. 8 states were affected, and according to the Wall Street Journal, this incident highlights India's difficulties in keeping its power infrastructure up to speed with its economic expansion. As you can imagine, this is getting a lot of attention in the Indian press. We're going to start by looking at the Hindustan Times, which says that it was greedy states that sent the power grid crashing. Even the capital was affected for 10 hours. According to this article, there were delayed trains, wrinkled school uniforms, lifeless cell phone, just a few of the disturbances. So as I was saying, the ministers, the government is blaming greedy states for overdrawing power, and especially agricultural states such as Uttar Pradesh and Punjab. And according to this article, to make sure that such a situation doesn't happen again, the government needs to ensure strict grid discipline and punish states that overuse power. And according to this article, regional centers should be given more power to be able to unplug states that are using too much energy. There's a different point of view, however, in the Times of India. They say that this Black Monday, as they're calling it, was a disaster that was just waiting to happen. It's not the state's fault. It's the fact that there are these perennial shortages of power. And of course, the states are going to draw as much electricity as they need. It's the fault of local governments. They should have done more to ramp up the generation capacity. And according to this article, discipline is not the way forward, because disciplining the grid can at best ensure that everyone suffers equally, according to this article.
And the press in Pakistan are also keeping a kind of close watch on this, because they're also facing an electricity crisis.
They sure are, and there's an interesting piece in Pakistan today that says, "Power, where art thou?" Because there have been protests across Pakistan against these massive power outages, because people are upset that the government isn't doing anything, especially during the holy month of Ramadan. The protesters disregarded, actually, what you're supposed to do during Ramadan, which is have extreme patience, and demonstrated in the sizzling heat. They say that the government is clueless about resolving the crisis, and there's an interesting cartoon that targets the government in the Pakistan Daily, and you see Prime Minister Zardari that's calling a high-level meeting, and that meeting is the electricity is given by a generator that's outside the meeting there.
And very, very briefly, just time to mention the Olympics. A bit of skepticism, rather, about this 16-year-old Chinese swimmer.
That's right. They're calling her the teenage torpedo, Yi Shiwen. She won the 400-meter medley on Saturday in a world record time, and especially in her final 50 meters, she was quicker than the man who won, Ryan Lochte, who won the male event. Yeah. Now, some people are wondering if this is just too good to be true. It's certainly drawing a lot of skepticism. She says, though, that it's all hard work.
You never know, it could be. That's the difficulty. You never know. Florence, thanks very much. Florence Villeminot with the International Papers here on France 24. Stay with us.
Every week, France 24 brings you all the latest news from the world of sailing and water sports. Follow the action from the major international sailing events. Catch up with the latest technological advances from the boat shows. Join us Become part of the crew. Connect with the world of sea lovers and water sports enthusiasts. Follow the Call of the Sea with Whirlwinds, Saturday, 12:40 p.m. Paris time on France 24.